The reason I'm doing this is, I'm looking at Damon, is because of kids like you will know my orneriness and everything, all of me. I won't live down, will I? I'm Roberta Marie Rardin. I was born in Chautauqua, Kansas, 1931, June the 2nd. I went to school at Berger School, and it doesn't even exist now. It's out in the country. I went to high school at Cherokee County Community High School, CCCHS. My parents are Esther and Ernest Rardin. Esther Marie and Ernest Rardin. I was born June the 2nd, 1931. They already had Charles. He was 15 and a half. And he knew the grandparents, but I didn't get to know them. Oh, I remember a Thanksgiving at her house, which was standing at where the museum is now. I remember that, and I just vaguely remember her sitting on our divan out in the country one time, which both of those is all before I was probably 4 or 5 years old. My grandpa was Charles F. Parham. My grandma was Sarah Elizabeth Thistlethwaite, and their parents both came over from England. They didn't know each other over there, and they met in New York somewhere, and then they married, and they thought it was real unusual that they had ancestors in England. So then they got married. Mother was 16, and her dad married her. They lived out on a little farm out on the curve there going to Riverton. And of course she got pregnant. She was working in the field with him, chopping corn, and hit her toe, and it bled. That birthmark is on my toe. Charles, of course, he wasn't born yet, so, but he was born out there. He was born at this house at Riverton. So anyway, then a bunch of years later, I was born, 15 and a half in fact. I was born at Keyville, Oklahoma, Kansas, barely into Kansas. It's not even there anymore. That blast took the whole town. A guy was trying to collect insurance, so he goes to the lake and rigged up this thing to blow up his house with the propane tank. And I'm not kidding you, it wiped the town off the map. But anyway, he got caught. I know. Well, he moved to California, and the only time after we was both married, we got close. Until then, he was 16 and a half years older than me, So we didn't really get close. Now, they lived with us over on the highway going to Columbus, and I was little and didn't know better, and we had a lot of hobos. So they would knock on the door, and they would hide and tell me to hide, but I would hide, but I'd stick my head out. They got so mad at me. Oh yeah, I was constipated. So they decided they was going to give me it. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take any medicine. So they put castor oil in my pancakes.
Who did this?
Mary.
Mary.
But I ate them pancakes.
Did it work?
Then at 4 or 5 years old, when I went to Texas that summer, I had this boyfriend, and he gave me this animal, and so I was taking this castor oil, but they decided to give me that pink pill that Watkins sold, and I didn't take it. I put it under my pillow. That animal ate it and killed it. I cried. I was so sorry I did that.
Yes.
Another funny thing out on the farm, I got this broom. It's when these little brooms first come out for kids to sweep. Mother had this beehive out there. So I stuck the handle in that beehive. Well, those bees kept come running after me, and I run, and I was crying. I ran in the house, and I told Mother, I couldn't tell her what it was. I just said, that bee sat down and pushed back. They knew what happened. It bit me. Then we always had ponies. Dwayne had a pony, and I had a pony, and then we took care of my cousins. Tony, it was a beautiful horse. He's what heard me talk about Tony. In a field, I said, oh, that looks like Tony. But anyway, I'd been watching some Western. So I saddled this horse, and I got back, and like they did in the Westerns, they got on the horse, right? I jumped clear over that horse and landed on the other side. Okay, I'm through with my jokes. Oh, gathered eggs.
But you did inside work.
But I milked. I stripped them after Daddy got the first milking machine. But you still had to strip them. And that's getting the rest of the milk out. So I did some of that. Oh yeah, I did all the house cleaning. And I'd move furniture every week. And we had heavy, piano even. I'd move that piano. Yeah, anyway, when Charles and I was going to get married, Mother took him and said, I want to tell you something. You better turn on the light before you go in to get me in bed, because you might not get in bed. It might be a divan or something. Because I moved furniture so much. 9 years later, after me, and then, so I was 9, I took care of him. Mother liked to work outside, so I did all the inside work. And I took care of Dwayne. And then later, I went to Houston, Texas for the summer when Dwayne was about a year old. Stayed with my aunt and uncle, Uncle Robert and Aunt Pauline Parm, for the summer. Their daughter could not keep a secret whatsoever, that she was 9 months younger than me. So Uncle Robert asked me to help him surprise Aunt Pauline on her birthday, which was Mother's Day that year. And, that was right down my alley. Don't tell Bobby. She was called Bobby, but she was Roberta also. So we planned that. We went off like a clock. She was so mad at me for knowing, because I knew and she didn't. Well, it wouldn't have went. She told everything. So it was funny. It was on a Sunday, and all the church followed us home, more or less, and we surprised her. The house was full. We went to I'm in Houston, I want to tell this. We went to the ocean one time, and I got this beautiful shell, paper thin, you could almost read through it. Took it home. Well, she liked it too, so she stole that from me. I was so mad. She stole it, so I looked for that, and I found it. I stole it back. So I got ready to come home. I knew where it was hid, so I got it. I put it in my suitcase, wrapped it up. When I got home, it was in smithereens. I said I was punished for stealing that. All my life I was punished for that. But anyway, I lived through it. On the way down there, I switched trains at Arkansas. I'm 9 years old now. I get off the train. They told me I could. I had an hour to spare. I got off the train, walked down one side and back the other so I could be in 2 states. Arkansas and Kansas, I guess. Anyway, got back on the train and went on to Houston. That went good. Yeah, I had a great summer. On the way home, though, Mother made the reservations, said, oh, I'd be in Chatopa like 7 o'clock. Okay, they'd pick me up. Well, this train started stopping every little bit, and I got to looking out. They're picking up milk cans on the way home to Chatopa. Can you imagine picking up the milk on the way? But anyway, we got to Chatopa 2 hours late, and I just knew they'd go off and leave me. I was 9 years old, you know. Yeah, I did a lot of foolish things on that farm. We hauled hay, so I didn't know Daddy had cut a hole in the loft to put a hay down through. I was still going out the window, you know. Well, had that, you know, and I was going backwards 90 miles an hour, and I landed down on the ground, approximately 15 feet. And that's how I got my scar on the back of my foot. Went to the doctor. The stretch tape had just came out. He really didn't know how to use it, but anyway, he put it around my foot. But I heard him tell Mother if it got unbearable, they could cut it down at the bottom with scissors. Well, my God, that thing started swelling. And I heard that. She went outside, so I got the scissors and I clipped it. And when I did, it looked like a marble came out. It was blood thing. And I clipped it. Well, it started feeling better, you know. About that time, Daddy came into the house. He said, what's the matter? And I said, well, my foot got to hurting so bad I couldn't stand it. And I heard the doctor say I could clip it. So I did, Daddy, and look. Oh my gosh, we're going to, you know, back to Columbus. So we went. And that doctor didn't know how to use that tape is what it was. We was told several times we could have sued him, you know, but we wouldn't do that. So anyway, that drained probably from 1st of June. When my high school started, it was still draining. I had to be careful what kind of shoes I bought. And it drained till about November that year. And it's still, I have to watch shoes sometimes, all these years later. CCCHS, Columbus Community High School, Cherokee County Community High School. Yeah, and of course I was from a country school. There wasn't very many of us. My girlfriend's cousin brought her horse to school, and we all got on it. I think there was 8 of us. That's from 1st to 8th grade. So there was some that was skipped because Montclair and I was in the same class. Yeah, that was not very many. We could all get on this horse, and we did several times. But we had our picture taken, and I've got it somewhere. Well, Daddy was real good at doctoring sheep. we got our farm some way in this. We didn't have to pay for it, I guess. Hartley's had all these farms, and so they had these sheep. Well, the bad ones or the sick ones they would put on this farm that Daddy was at, because he took care of them, and all the others come there. So I was used to being around sick sheep. Oh, one day we was out, Daddy and I was unloading this barrel of, I don't know what it was, but it was like a 30-gallon, 50-gallon drum off the back of a truck. He got his finger under it and cut it off. I don't know why. I was just like maybe 12, 10, 11 probably. And I had heard if you put it, if there's any skin at all, you could put it back up there and wrap it and it'd grow back. So I said, he said, cut it off. And I said, no. I said, let's try it. So we did. And he griped all his life because it was stiff and he hadn't been his fingers. But anyway, he got the crooked finger. I went my freshman year, and my sophomore year, I would have been in, but I went to California with Charles and Mary. That's why. And I was about a whole month late coming to school. I really was nervous because I was a little old country girl. So I went to California with Charles and Mary, with her family out there, and I had a ball because they had a young girl older than I, so she could drive, and we went everywhere. They didn't know it. I went on to school when I got home, back, and then that summer I got married. Charles had went to Kankakee, Illinois, and got a job. Oh, Charles Minker. And so we lived up there. For the first month till we found a place, we stayed with his aunt. Then I found a place where I could take care of these two kids for our room and board. So that was great. And they were, I don't know, 6 and 8. And the girl was great. She wanted to leave with me when I left. But the boy, he was kind of ornery.